So one of the viewers caught something that I don't think I actually screwed up, but didn't take advantage of. Well, no, I did when I moved this Indian, although I don't know what else I could have, and the other one. Those only cost a half point each on the card, so you can actually move more than one with a 1 point card. Oh well, we're not going to go back and try to change anything or try to give the extra points. Anyway, at this point we deal out the cards, and I'll try to remember that rule change. Okay, well, the French started things off with this Iroquois Alliance card, which could have given them up to 6 different Iroquois. They ended up only getting one here, the Cayuga. They could choose which one, but that felt a little safer being away from the English regulars. The English then played a 2-point card, marched up to take on Rigaud here, and he was unable to escape from battle. What that means is we've got a battle, and, well, we're going to count troop strength points. 2, 3, 6 for the French, and oh boy, a lot here. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 for the English. 6 is a good number. This is a breakdown type chart. 16 is a particularly bad number. What do we have for values? Neither one has a good leader. I don't believe Johnson counts. I think you have to take your best, your commanding leader in rating. I'm going to look that up, but it's my memory. There are regulars on both sides. It looks pretty much set unless the French happen to ambush. Okay, so they're going to be double strength. They'll be at 12, and they get to fire first. Unless the English had an ambush as well. And they do not. And this is one of the things, I mean, that's a very, very powerful battle card. It's not just like a +1 on the table. These battles can be heavily, heavily affected by the cards. Okay, so 12 points for the French. That's not such a good roll. But the English are going to take 3 hits. Okay. Well, I want to take hits on the Indians first. 1. But now I've got restrictions. And I don't know if it's regulars or formed units. I think it's regulars. No, it's just drilled troops. Cool. Well, maybe, yeah, every odd step is a drilled troop. This takes precedence. Oh, 7.63. Great. So that's 1, 2, how much did I say? Looks like just 3. That's not too bad. Oh, it's every odd one. So we'll take it like that. Okay, I want to protect my regulars. They're harder to recuperate. I've lost 3 strength points in battle over my initial, which was 16. So now I'm down to 13, which is fine. I didn't really lose anything. I also do 3 hits on the French. Now they have to take 1, 2, and the third one kills this Marine unit. And technically it's kind of bagged. I don't know if that can come back. I think for the most part the regular, everything except the Indians kind of doesn't really come back, but we'll see. It doesn't really hurt to throw them back in the bag. We could of course build more Marines. Units only come in by cards, and the cards get removed when they're reinforcements usually. Okay, so what happened? Who won the battle? Well, both sides caused the same number of losses, so the defender wins the tie. The defender gets a victory point because there were regular units as well as the 4 or more on the opposing side. So that's kind of a bonus for the French. The English are able to retreat because of the fortress there. That didn't go well for them, though. Yes, they caused heavy losses. They've kind of defeated the French army, but they lost a battle that, I don't know, they thought they had every chance of winning. Alright. Well, that puts us over on the French action. The French opened things up by getting serious, bringing Montcalm, a couple of regulars, Levi, Bougainville, all into play in Quebec. Gives them quite a force. The English then followed up, playing a 2-point card to shove up to Hudson Carry North. It's going to be a hard trip because they've got the 2-point leader. If they had a 1-point leader, they could do some blazingly impressive movements. Montcalm can do that, though. He can make it down here and help protect that French waterway. And we're going to have to do something pretty soon. Now, the English advance was halted. They almost completely defeated Rigaud here. They got him down to 1/2 strength. Courier. I don't know. Anyway, they've taken one more loss, but because they didn't wipe him out, they couldn't keep going. There's also the fact that, well, maybe they want to build a stockade here, but they don't really need it because there is a waterway. It provides a defensive benefit, but that's really it. They have the waterway to transport their supplies on, so they can just keep pushing forward. But they're not allowed to because they were stopped by that battle. And what do we have? Well, Montcalm grabs all the troops. He takes Vaudreuil with him in case he needs to pull some reinforcements in place. Vaudreuil is not very useful. And just is able to come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right down the river, slam into Shirley. Now we got a fight between a fairly decent force here. 3, 6, 9, 12, 18. And this should be down to a 12 now. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 18 to 12. I don't have any cards that I think can take effect. I played my bad weather with my English to take my action. And yeah, I don't see anything there. Alright. Well, the English get a good die roll. They get a 4. The French have +2 to their die, though, because Montcalm's got a +2 leadership. There's another advantage for the English, though. They have non-regulars in the wilderness or mountain, which provides a -1 to the French. So the French only get +1 over on that 18. They're going to cause 5 hits, and the English are going to cause 4. For those losses, well, let's look at the English losses. They've got to take theirs first. 1, 2. I lose this Mohawk. I don't really need him. 2. 3, I'm taking a regular rather than killing a militia. 4. And 5, again, a regular rather than killing a militia. Why? Because I've got a card to restore my militia. The English have to fall back. This is another French victory point. Bang. And I didn't take the 4 French losses. They'll take them all on regulars, of course. English rolled a 6. They have a chance of killing their opponents. So first a roll for Vaudreuil, and then for Montcalm. And that would have been pretty devastating if he killed Montcalm, because Montcalm is really such a powerful and useful leader in this era and location. He really, you know, made the French have a chance in this in the early stages of this fighting. Okay. Well, the English have a tough job ahead of them. And the reason the English kept their recruits is they had this card, which allowed them to actually, they succeeded in rolling a 4. They got all their provincial troops back up to full strength. The French then kind of dilly-dallied. They played this Western Indian alliance, which gave them a stack of Indians here and one down in Mingo. That seems a little weird because they should be pushing down to Albany, trying to cut Abercrombie off and really, you know, dominate into the New England and New York area. But, well, it's not my fault what they're doing, right? Alright, well, the English, on their part, played a smallpox card hitting that French stack. It reduces the strength of the stack by a half a die. Unfortunately for the English, they rolled a 1 and only knocked 1 unit out, or only knocked 1 unit down. So the French attacked anyway. They used a campaign, and this is why they had the Indians on the board. They pushed their leader down from Pays de Haut down to the Alleghenies to kind of start doing some more raiding. And Montcalm moved in. Now, Montcalm had a slight advantage on the table, 13 to the 12, and he had a +1, not +2 for his leadership, because he was facing some irregular troops in the wilderness, and he didn't have any with him. However, he got outrolled pretty severely and ended up losing the battle. See the victory point down 1, and that's one other reason the French did the Indian thing. They got a bonus because of having at least 4 victory points. And he was driven back. And now things don't look so hot for the French because this force is quite weak and very vulnerable, actually. And I wouldn't be shocked if Shirley comes after him. Okay, and Shirley does indeed chase him, defeats him here, and wipes out his force, kills Montcalm. That's not a guarantee, but he's been rolling a lot of 6s. I don't know if that red die is kind of boned, but it is the one that rolled the 1 as well, so who knows. And then marched up and chased Vaudreuil back here to this fort at Crown Point, which Shirley's got under siege now. Things look really badly for the, like they're going very badly for the French. First of all, their victory points are dropping down. They're losing the waterway. Montreal looks at risk, possibly even as far as Quebec. By land, this is, I don't know, kind of par for the course for me. Alright, we'll go on with the French. Well, using my newly learned rule, I used a 2-point card to throw 4 Indians into cultivated hexes. There were interception attempts here and here, both of which failed. And now we get to undertake the raids. Now here's what's kind of a pain. Over here it's just going to be a straight up raid. But down here I've got those militia to deal with. So the Indians may have greater problems. We'll see what I do, because if I lose militia, that might drop me down below the 2 units, making it possible that the raids won't have a penalty against them. And that I don't particularly want to do, but I gotta look at the chart and think which is more useful. Well, I fought one and took a loss and didn't get a success at hurting the raider. So I pulled back and didn't engage with any more of the militia, but every single raid had no effect. Them's the breaks, right? Now for the English, they're playing a card that would be very helpful towards pushing into Louisbourg. Their current forces at Halifax aren't sufficient to take it. Getting a couple of extra regulars there would be powerful, but it creates some couriers units at Quebec and Louisbourg and helps the Canadians overall. It looks to me like pushing up this way may be the better action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a siege. Among other things, you get to see what a siege is like. There are no bonuses, no penalties, actually. Cohorns are a particular type of cannon that I think the Dutch invented some 50 years ago or so. Alright, well, we're going to roll. We really need a 6 to succeed here. That's the problem. And we do not get it. We get a +1 on the siege table, and Luckily I picked a counter that had a 1 on the other side. That would be okay, but the British don't have enough cards. They don't have cards to help them with the next siege. They don't have another siege until the winter, and so they're going to break that off. That's kind of a shame, actually. Actually, no, it looks like sieges continue over the winter. That's not going to be good for the English because they're going to have to suffer attrition there. I didn't have the points to get them out. For the French, they also have some attrition problems. They pulled this marine detachment. It's going to suffer anyway back out of the south and up to where maybe it can be commanded and used better. At least it's in supply now, but that's not enough. It needed to be in a fort or something like that by the end of the winter. Peugeot doesn't have anything with him, so he's okay. We're going to see attrition here at the fort on both sides. The English, the French were kind of at the, oh, what do I do with my points? And then they're like, oh shit, I have an attrition problem. The English played their cards in order to build a couple of quick stockades. So now we're kind of at the end of the turn stage here. Indians go home. All the Indians return to their home location on the map. I don't know if there are any that aren't right now. That can go home. No, there's no one under siege either. The rated markers, well, the French are going to get a victory point for this. That helps a little bit. It doesn't make up for how badly the turn has gone for them. And then the winter attrition. Now, the winter attrition, I've kind of, I don't know how much I explain things when I explain the rules. It's hard here. But the winter attrition, you have to be in a cultivated space of your own, a stockade or fort with no more than 4 friendly units, and that's what the 4 is for on those. Well, the fortresses, or the forts allow you to be in them. Or, and then you reduce, you eliminate the odd reduced units, and then reduce all the full strength units. Okay, well, let's take a look at this step by step. First here, well, there's only a full strength, so it's going to be reduced. I don't see anybody else who has a problem up here. We get down here, and we've got a leader kicking around, but I moved the troops up. The leader, along with the Indians, goes home. That actually has already happened. I got to figure out where to place them. That's not really a big deal. I just haven't done that. Here we're okay. Here, though, we have a problem. And for the English, that problem is I've got to lose my 3 militia, basically. Because it's every odd drilled troop. Well, I chose to lose them. For the French here, well, those aren't drilled. Those are... So they're not actually able to suffer attrition. Great. But the detachment gets reduced. And that's kind of where we're sitting. I've got to move some leaders out of play. We checked to see if anybody won. Oh, look, they didn't. I'll put my leaders back. But for the most part, I'm ready to kick off into 1756 here. And to load this video up.